At this time, we ask that you please stand for the posting of the colors by the American Indian Association on 7-1 and remain standing for the national anthem. Thank you, Mr. Nutzman and choir members. You may be seated. Good morning and welcome to our 2025 Veterans Day program. It is our privilege to take time today to recognize, honor, and celebrate all that our American veterans have done to allow us the many freedoms we have today. At this time, Mr. Nutzman and the junior high and senior high vocal ensemble students will present the folded flag arranged by Joseph Martin.
Wounded
we celebrate Veterans Day, formerly known as Armistice Day, we may be reminded of its foundation. In 1921, an American soldier, his name known but to God, was buried on a Virginia hillside overlooking the Potomac River in the city of Washington, D.C. The burial site of this unknown World War I soldier in Arlington National Cemetery symbolized dignity and reverence for America's veterans. Similar ceremonies occurred earlier in England and France, where an unknown soldier of the Great War was buried in each nation's highest place of honor. These memorial gestures all took place on November 11th, giving universal recognition to the celebrated ending of World War I hostilities at 11 a.m. November 11th, 1918. The 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, over 100 years ago. Today we remember and honor all veterans from all wars. We thank individuals who have chosen to join our armed forces to protect the freedoms we are privileged to have in the United States of America. At this time, I would like to acknowledge all of our local veterans and current military members here today and across our great nation. Please stand as we thank you for your service. This year, we would also like to acknowledge a Milford High alum who happens to be visiting Milford, Nebraska from his Orange County, California home on this Veterans Day. Staff Sergeant Zach Compton, would you please stand for a moment of recognition? Zach was a Milford High School graduate with the class of 2013. He enlisted in the United States Marine Corps in May 2013 and completed recruit training at the Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego. He volunteered for overseas duty and was assigned to Okinawa, Japan, where he served as a supply chain specialist and Marine Corps martial arts instructor with Combat Logistics Regiment 35. Shortly after arriving, he was reassigned to the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit and deployed throughout the Indo-Pacific aboard the USS Bonhomme Richard. During that deployment, he was selected to join Marine Special Operations Command, MARSOC, as a logistics enabler and later deployed to Europe and North Africa. Following his tour with MARSOC, he was selected for promotion to Staff Sergeant and was reassigned to Marine Air Ground Task Force Training Command, where he served as the Material Readiness Officer and a uniform victim advocate, finishing his military career in February of 2022. Today he continues serving the Special Operations community in a different capacity as the content and communications strategist for the Special Operations Association of America, advocating for Special Forces community past and present. Staff Sergeant Compton, we are proud of you and thank you for your service. Thank you for joining us for our 2025 Veterans Day program. Please join me in another round of applause. We would also like to recognize any family members of veterans or current military members that are here today, as you too sacrifice in support of our veterans and troops. Would family members of veterans and troop members please stand to be recognized? this day in your honor. Next, Mayor Patrick Kelly will share the Veterans Day proclamation. Please join me in your appreciation for this proclamation. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to our veterans who are here today. I'm going to deliver the City of Milford Mayor the proclamation. Our nation is only as great as the character and convictions of our people. Our freedom only as certain as a moral and military capacity to preserve it. And whereas it is fitting that we pause at the close of this year to honor those Americans who have answered our nation's call to duty and walked in the very shadow of death to preserve our way of life. And whereas it is important to remember that were it not for our veterans, we would not enjoy the liberty and security we share today with our family, our friends, and millions around the world. And whereas our comfort has come to the cost of the youth and health, the freedom and lives of many American veterans, and while our veterans have earned all the respect and gratitude we can express on this day, they do not seek glory any more than they sought the hellish test of war. Now, therefore, I, Patrick L. Kelly, Mayor of the City of Milford, do hereby proclaim the 11th day of November, 2025 as Veterans Day in Milford, Nebraska. And I do by here urge all of the citizens to display the flag of the United States, to visit our veterans' homes and hospitals, and to honor the Gold Star mothers and fathers in our midst, to pray for the return of our POWs and MIAs, and to participate in ceremonies that affirm our appreciation for all veterans who have honorably served our beloved country. In witness whereof I have unto set my hand and caused the great seal of the City of Milford to be affixed on the 11th day of November in the year of our Lord, 2025. May God bless our veterans, may God bless Milford, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Kelly. I'm honored today to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Ken Reich. Ken has been an active member of American Legion Post 171 and serves as their Post Lieutenant and Financial Secretary. Ken volunteers annually to assist with the posting of the colors at our Veterans Day programs, Memorial Day services, and athletic events. He is also instrumental in advocating for Cornhusker Boys State and Junior Lock attendees. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Ken Reich as our guest of honor on this Veterans Day.
Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, students and all fellow citizens, and most importantly, thank you to all the honored veterans. Something about me. Raised on a farm outside of Geneva, Nebraska. Went to Catholic school from grades 1 through 8. Went to Geneva High School and graduated in May of 1972. Go Wildcats. They don't even exist anymore. It's Film Central now. After graduation, I entered into the United States Navy. I spent about 6 months at the Great Lakes Naval Training Center, where I went through boot camp and also the electricians training facility. I'm over there on the far right somewhere. After graduating electrician school, I was given orders to Little Creek, Virginia. That's out by Norfolk, Virginia. To Coastal River Squadron 2. What many call the Brown Water Navy, where I learned to operate what is known as swift boats. Oops, too far. There we are. The patrol boats that went up and down the rivers and inlets of Vietnam. And on board these little vessels, we couldn't call them ships because they didn't go out on the ocean. They're boats, basically. They were very heavily armed, small boats. You can see, step away here a little bit, right up there, a front turret that had 250 caliber machine guns in it that we had to learn to operate. And then on the backs, there are also places where more armament was mounted. And these boats were basically up and down the river to help retrieve or insert soldiers into different areas of the jungles of Vietnam. I was trained to do all parts of the boat, even though my specialty was electrician. I was trained to do everything because there were only 3 or 4 men on the boat, so you had to be able to cover for each other. I fortunately did not have to deploy to Vietnam, as the United States was in a situation where they were pulling out of Vietnam at that time. I did, however, get sent on maneuvers to Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, where the waterways were very similar to those of Vietnam, and we learned of the many hardships that our fellow soldiers and sailors had to go through while they were in Vietnam. While I was at Little Creek, Virginia, I was selected to participate in a recruiting trip. They sent our river boats all the way up to, clear up in the corner there, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Then from that point, we went all the way down the Ohio River, stopping at about 15 to 20 different places. And then as we went through different ports of call, we call them, basically we sat there for a day or day and a half and just entertained the local people, gave them rides on the boats and talked to them about the Navy, and basically we were just glorified recruiters at that point in time. But it was quite a big deal for me going down the Ohio River, and then once we got to Paducah, Kentucky, right down here, go ahead, Rose. We went to the Tennessee River. Oops, there we go. And then we went on the Tennessee River all the way over to Knoxville, Tennessee. We spent about 6 weeks and covered over 1,500 miles as, like I said, glorified recruiters to show the public what we were all about. After the swift boat portion of my time in the Navy, I was reassigned to the United States USS Independence, CV-62. That was an aircraft carrier. It was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia. And that aircraft carrier held 3,500 sailors. And then when it had a full complement of planes and the crewmen that took care of the planes, there was another 2,000. This little kid from Nebraska found himself in a situation where there were twice as many people on board that one ship than I grew up with in my hometown. You figure the size of Milford, twice the population of Milford would be on board that ship at any one point in time. There were usually 70 planes of different variety on there. You usually had a contingent of Marines, and then the airmen that took care of the planes. It was about a little over 3 football fields long and 2 football fields wide. We often played softball on the flight deck when there wasn't anything going on. Lost a few softballs here and there. At any one time, you could have a meal 23 hours a day. There were 3 galleys on board the ship, and you could walk in any time and have breakfast, lunch, supper, what midnight snack, whatever you wanted. They didn't care. This is the Independence over here on the your right, next to the USS Nimitz, which became what was the first nuclear-powered surface ship in the United States Navy. And I think it's getting decommissioned this year. The Independence has been decommissioned for several years now. But once I got on board the ship, remember, I was trained as an electrician. So they sent me directly into the office to be a secretary. You gotta figure military will do what they want. Good thing that I had typing skills from Geneva High. I spent the first several months taking care of setting watch schedules, training sessions, and other office duties. Once I had served that time, I was reappointed to the main machinery room to actually do electrical work. So I got to about 6 months of doing electrical work while I was on board the ship. When we were ready to set sail for the Mediterranean Sea, I found myself back in the office, doing more office work. Go ahead. Which was fine with me, because at that point in time, we were heading for the Mediterranean, and we're going to have a lot of ports of call. And being the guy that made out the watch schedules, my buddies and I never had to hold watch while we were overseas, at least in port. We didn't mind standing watches when we were out in sea because there's nothing else to do. But when we were in port, it was nice to have a couple, 3 days everywhere we went to just see the local terrain. Clear over here in the United States, it took about 4 days to travel from Norfolk, Virginia to Rota, Spain. Rota, Spain was our first stop, and like I said, about 4 days after we left Norfolk, Virginia. From Rota, Spain, they decided we'd go clear up here somewhere in the North Atlantic. They wanted us to cross the Arctic Circle so that we could get what they call our Blue Nose certificates, which just mainly meant when you're outside, your nose turned blue. So, you know, we had about 3 weeks that we spent time just sailing around there, up around Iceland, Greenland, letting everybody know that we were there. And they knew, because we always had a Russian ship in our horizon. They always watched us, wherever we went. When we came back from the Arctic Circle, we stopped at Portsmouth, England, which it was about an hour train ride from London. So my buddies and I hopped on trains and took off for London. Had a great time over there. Everybody spoke our language. But the thing was, we were there at Thanksgiving time, and nobody seemed to want to celebrate with us. Go figure. Then we left Portsmouth, England. We came back down here into the Mediterranean Sea, and we spent quite a bit of time circling around the Mediterranean Sea. We stopped in Italy, we stopped in Spain, we stopped in Sicily. There was just a lot of different places that we got to stop and see. So it was a great time for this little boy from Nebraska. After my release from active duty, I used my GI Bill to go to Southeast Community College just down the road here. At Southeast Community College, I again learned more about electricity, because shipboard electricity and civilian electricity was quite a bit different. So I learned a lot about electricity over here. Then I went to work up in Genoa, Nebraska. And then 2 years later, SEC called me and said, hey, what would you think about teaching? And one of their instructors was leaving. They wanted to fill the void. So I said, well, I'll think about it. And then 40 years later, I retired over there at SEC. It was a pretty good gig. I also, like Garrett said, I wanted to mention that I'm part of American Legion Post 171, serving as Post Adjutant and Financial Secretary. I am one of the Knights of Columbus at St. Vincent de Paul Church in Seward. I serve on J Precinct Cemetery Board in Ruby. I used to be a volunteer election worker in Ruby. I'm an avid blood donor, over 17 gallons so far. And most recently, I became a member of the Educational Service Unit number 6, Board of Governors. I'm just saying, don't be afraid to be part of the community. It's great to be involved. Why did I join the service? My dad. My dad, Clarence Reich, served in the Army as a tank driver. That's a picture of him over there with his tank. In the Second World War as part of Patton's Brigade. Most of my uncles also served in one part of the service or another. My brother, who is 16 months older than I, who joined the Marines. I had 3 brothers-in-law, 2 in the Navy and 1 in the Army. All served during the Vietnam era. So it just seemed like it was the right thing to do. And it turned out to be the best thing I could do. Got this little boy out of Geneva, Nebraska, out to see the world. A sense of pride and performance has followed me throughout my years. You can get off that picture. Regardless of why someone enters into the service, we stand here today united in our gratitude and respect for all who have worn the uniform of our nation's armed services. Veterans Day urges us to reflect and acknowledge the profound debt we owe to all who serve. Throughout our nation's history in times of war and peace, our veterans have stood firm against threats to freedom and democracy. From the frozen forests of the Ardennes in France, where my dad was, to the sweltering jungles of Vietnam, where my brothers-in-law and brother served, from the deserts of Iraq, where my grandson-in-law served, to mountains in Afghanistan, our service members have faced adversity with courage and determination. But their service goes far beyond the battlefield. Veterans are woven into the fabrics of our community. They are our neighbors, our co-workers, our friends, our family members. They are teachers, farmers, bankers, mayors, police officers, and firefighters. Their values of duty, honor, and sacrifice enhance our society in many ways. To our World War II veterans, aren't many left. You are living proof of the greatest generation. Our Korean veterans answered the call when freedom was threatened, standing firm against aggression in a conflict often called the Forgotten War. Our Vietnam veterans, you served with honor in a very divisive time, often returning home to a nation that failed to appreciate the sacrifice you made. And the veterans of our more recent conflicts in the Middle East and beyond, you have carried the torch of freedom into a new era, facing an enemy that lurks in the shadows. To all who have served, in whatever capacity, your commitment to our nation didn't end when you hung up your uniform. You continue to serve as leaders in our communities. You represent the very best what it means to be an American. But as we express our gratitude, we must also recognize that many of our veterans face significant challenges. Post-traumatic stress, physical disabilities, addictions, depression, unemployment and homelessness affect far too many who have served. On this Veterans Day, let us renew our commitment to supporting our veterans in deed as well as in word. Let us also commit to preserving the stories of our veterans for future generations. Each veteran's experience is a part of our nation's history. By listening to their stories, by understanding their sacrifices, we will better understand the true cost of our freedom. Let us never forget. Thank you for listening to my story. May God bless our veterans, their families, and the United States of America.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan, for today's message and for your years of military service. At this time, Mrs. Eggers and her family consumer science students have a special presentation to share with you.
Hello, joining me on stage are a few of the 7th grade Family and Consumer Sciences students representing all students here who have taken an FCS class. One of the many technical career and life-ready skills they learn is sewing. However, through every skill the students learn in life, FCS focuses on how we can use those skills to serve and give back to others. There's no better way to share these skills than the class creation of a quilt of valor.
For those of you who don't know, quilts are a symbol of healing and love. The Quilts of Valor is a nationwide initiative and program that creates and presents quilts to servicemen and veterans touched by war for comfort and healing.
A quilt of valor is made of 3 layers, and each layer has its own special meaning. The top, with its many colors, shapes, and fabrics, represents the communities and the many individuals we are. The batting, the filler, is the center of the quilt. Its warmth. It represents our hope that this quilt will bring warmth, comfort, peace, and healing to the individual who receives it. The backing is the strength that supports the other layers. It represents the strength of the veteran. Each stitch that holds the layers together represents the love and gratitude of the makers.
The veteran we are honoring today joined the Marines from 1964 to 1968, serving in the Vietnam War. He was one of the first troops to arrive there, helping to build the landing strips for planes to land on. While he was not on the front line, he always said he was in the rear of the gear. Upon returning from duty, this veteran met his wife and was married in 1972. He began school at SEC Milford in 1973 for Auto Body Works. He also served in the Army National Guard from 1974 until 1981. He then transferred to the U.S. Naval Reserves from 1981 to 1991.
As a civilian, this veteran also worked in construction and later worked at Burlington North Railway, which is now nearing 20 years of retirement. During this time, this veteran was an active member of the American Legion Post 171 Milford, assisting with color guard duties at our Veterans Day program, Memorial Day services, and sporting events. We thank you for your continued support of honoring veterans and encouraging our youth to consider a military career.
Today, we honor Herb Greenway as a Quilt of Valor recipient. Herb, we ask that you, your wife Jean, and any other family or friends of Herb to please come forward and onto the stage to help us present Herb with the Quilt of Valor.
Mr. Greenwade, it is our absolute honor to present you with this Quilt of Valor. For any student who has helped stitch together a quilt block for this Quilt of Valor, please stand and remain standing. For Mr. Greenwade and all service members and veterans, please take a look at these amazing junior high and high school students up here on stage and in the audience. Over 30 sets of hands helped stitch together this quilt. We want you to know from Oakville Public Schools that we appreciate and have a deep respect for your selfless service to our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Zeggers, and all junior high FCS students for sharing this amazing honor. Herb Greenway, thank you for your service, as we are proud to celebrate you and your choice to serve our great nation. Please join me in another round of applause for this quote. Please join me now in standing for a moment of silence in honor of our fallen veterans. We will also remain standing for the retirement of the village. Thank you for joining us for our Veterans Day program. On behalf of Milford High School, thank you for your service. Our local Milford American Legion and auxiliary units invite our veterans and families to join their luncheon at the Milford Senior Center downtown. Enjoy being celebrated on this Veterans Day.